Good morning, grade 8. In our previous lesson, we have discussed about triangle congruence. What is the meaning of the word congruence? When can we say that the two triangles are congruent? The word congruence is used to compare two geometric figures. It's synonymous to saying that the two figures are equal, but since they are geometric figures, the word that we are going to use is the word congruence or congruent. Or kailan natin masasabi na ang dalawang triangles are congruent or two geometric figures are congruent? Two geometric figures are said to be congruent when they have exactly the same size and they have exactly the same shape. And the symbol used for congruence is this symbol. It is read as is congruent to. If we are going to make a statement, this will be read as is congruent to. Suppose we have two triangles, triangle ABC and triangle DEF. When can we say that the two triangles are congruent? Okay, yes, you are correct. We can say that the two triangles are congruent when all the 6 pairs of corresponding parts are also congruent. Okay, so in these two triangles, this is just a review. We are going to identify the 6 pairs of corresponding parts that are marked congruent. Let's start with the 3 pairs of sides. Side AB corresponds to side DE. So therefore, side AB is congruent to side DE. In the same manner, side BC corresponds to side EF, or side BC is congruent to side EF. And lastly, we have side AC corresponds to side DF, or we have side AC is congruent to side DF. How about the 6 pairs of corresponding angles? Let us start with angle A. Angle A corresponds with angle D. So we have angle A is congruent to angle D. Second, we have angle B corresponds to angle E, or angle B is congruent to angle E. And finally, we have angle C corresponds to angle F, or simply we can say that angle C is congruent to angle F. So we have here 6 statements saying that there are 6 pairs of corresponding parts of the two triangles that are congruent or that are marked congruent. If 6 pairs of corresponding parts that include sides and angles are congruent, then the triangles are also congruent. So ibig sabihin, dahil lahat ng corresponding parts niya are congruent, we can therefore conclude that the two triangles, triangle ABC and triangle DEF, are also congruent. In conclusion, we can say that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. But the question is, do we really need all 6 pairs of corresponding parts to prove that the two triangles are congruent? The answer is no. That's why we have the Triangle Congruence Postulates. And what are those? We have SSS Congruence Postulate. Second is SAS Congruence Postulate. And third, we have ASA Congruence Postulate. And we are going to discuss these 3 congruence postulates one by one. Let us start with SSS. The first one we have is the SSS Congruence Postulate. Ano nga ba itong SSS congruence postulate? Yes, you are correct. As you can see here, SSS stands for side, side, side. So obviously, we need only 3 pairs of corresponding sides in comparing two triangles for us to be able to conclude that really the two triangles are congruent. So we no longer need 6 pairs of corresponding parts because in this SSS congruence postulate, we only need 3 pairs of corresponding sides. And for us to understand this better, let us read this one. SSS congruence postulate. If 3 sides of one triangle are congruent to the 3 sides of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent. Ibig sabihin, we are just going to compare 3 sides of the first triangle and another 3 sides of the second triangle, and if these 3 corresponding sides of the 2 triangles are congruent, therefore we can conclude that the 2 triangles are also congruent. Okay, so let us give an example. Suppose we have triangle DEF, the red triangle, and another triangle, the blue triangle. What have you observed with the 2 triangles? Yes, you are correct. Your observation is correct that the 2 triangles overlaps with each other, meaning their vertices and their sides coincides with each other. So in this way, what can we say about the shape and the size of the 2 triangles? Ulitin natin. We have triangle DEF and another triangle. So what can you say about the size and the shape of the 2 triangles? Yes, you are correct that the 2 triangles have exactly the same size and exactly the same shape. So therefore, we can conclude that the 2 triangles are really congruent. But what if they are not positioned like this? What if they are placed at a considerable distance with each other? Ibig sabihin, paano kapag yung dalawang triangle ay magkalayo sa dalawa? Would it still be easy for you to determine whether the 2 triangles are congruent? Medyo mahirap na. We cannot therefore conclude that the 2 triangles are congruent because they are placed at a considerable distance from each other. So what do we need now to compare the 2 triangles? We need at least 3 corresponding parts or 3 pairs of corresponding parts. Suppose these parts here of triangle ABC and triangle DEF are marked. Okay, so we have here 3 sides that are marked. May tick marks. So ano ang pinapahiwatig ng 3 tick marks na yon? Meaning, this side here, side AB, corresponds to side DE. Or we can say that side AB is congruent to side DE. Another pair of sides, we have side BC corresponds to side EF, or side BC is congruent to side EF. And finally, we have side AC corresponds to side DF. Or we can say that side AC is congruent to side DF. So in this way, we have identified 3 pairs of corresponding sides that are marked congruent. Ibig sabihin, these three statements here tell us that the three pairs of sides of the two triangles are congruent. So we have S, S, S. And since we have proven that the three pairs of corresponding sides are congruent, we can therefore conclude that the two triangles, triangle ABC and triangle DEF, are congruent. So in conclusion, we can say the triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. By what means we have proven that the two triangles are congruent? Yes, by SSS congruence postulate or by SSS postulate. So in this way, how many pairs of corresponding parts have we compared to prove that the two triangles are congruent? Yes, we only need three pairs of corresponding sides, and that is under SSS congruence postulate. The next triangle congruence postulate we have is SAS congruence postulate. Ano nga ba itong SAS congruence postulate? Yes, you are correct. As we can see here, SAS stands for side, angle, side. So there must be two sides and one angle. What do you think is the position of the angle? Yes, that is a correct observation that angle is positioned between two sides. So we need side, angle, and side of one triangle to compare to its corresponding side, angle, and side of another triangle for us to be able to conclude that the two triangles are congruent with each other. And for us to be able to understand this better, let us read this one. SAS congruence postulate. If two sides and the included angle of one triangle are congruent to the corresponding two sides and included angle of another triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. So what do we need to have? Ano lang ang kailangang meron? Kailangan meron lang two sides and one included angle. And then on another triangle, we also need two sides and one included angle. But before we proceed to giving you examples, let us first define what included angle is. Ano nga ba itong included angle? When we say included angle, this is an angle in between two sides. Ibig sabihin, angle na nasa pagitan ng dalawang sides. Or suppose we have these three triangles here, triangle GHI. On the first triangle, side GI and side GH are marked. So between these two sides, the included angle is this angle here, and that is angle G. Ibig sabihin, angle G is in between two marked sides. Okay, next, we have side IG and side IH. These two sides are marked. Meron siyang tick marks. And the angle between those two sides is this angle here, and that is angle I. So the included angle in this triangle with tick marks at side IG and side IH is angle I. On the third triangle, side GH and side IH have tick marks. So the included angle is the angle between these two sides. and that angle is angle H. Again, when we say included angle, it is an angle in between two sides or an angle between two marked sides. Ito po yung angle na nasa pagitan ng dalawang sides na may tick marks or ng dalawang sides na tinutukoy natin. Okay, since we already know what included angle is, let us now give an example about SAS Congruence Postulate. Bakit nga ba natin binigyan ng halaga or binigyan ng pansin yung included angle? As we can see, SAS angle is positioned between two sides. So yung angle na tinutukoy dito is actually an included angle. Suppose we have triangle ABC and triangle DEF. As we can see, there are three corresponding parts of the two triangles that have tick marks, meaning there are three corresponding parts or there are three pairs of corresponding parts that are marked congruent. And what are those parts? Can you observe which parts have tick marks between triangle ABC and triangle DEF? Yes, you are correct. This side here, this angle here, and this side here. So in other words, we have side, angle, side. On the second triangle, ano-ano naman yung mga parts na merong tick marks? Ito po yung tick marks natin. So what are the parts of the second triangle that have tick marks? We have side DE, angle E, and side EF. So we have side, angle, side. What can you say about the two angles that are marked? Okay, your observation is correct. The two angles that are marked are actually included angles. So in other words, if we are going to compare two triangles using SAS Congruence Postulate, we have to make sure that the marked angles are included angles. And in this case, angle B and angle E are included angles. So we have side, angle, side, or SAS. So let us now give three statements that would prove that the two triangles are congruent based on SAS Congruence Postulate. Let us start. Side AB corresponds to side DE. Therefore, we can say that side AB is congruent to side DE. Next is angle or included angle. Angle B corresponds to angle E. So we can say that angle B is congruent to angle E. And finally, we have side BC corresponds to side EF, or we can say that side BC is congruent to side EF. So we have here three statements saying that two pairs of corresponding sides and a pair of included angles are congruent. Therefore, we can say that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. By what means we have proven that the two triangles are congruent? By what postulate? By SAS Congruence Postulate. Okay, so let's have another example. Write the congruent parts and prove that the triangles are congruent. We have here triangle BAR and triangle LKR. We have BAR and LKR. Take note kung paano natin pinangalanan yung first triangle, ganun din dapat yung way ng pagbibigay natin ng pangalan sa second triangle. So kung dito we have B, A, R, we started with B going to A and going to the side with 2 tick marks. Dito naman we started with L going to K and going to the side that have 2 tick marks. So we have triangle BAR and triangle LKR. As you can see, how many pairs of corresponding parts are marked congruent? Yes, your observation is correct. We have 2 pairs of corresponding parts. But is that enough information to conclude that the 2 triangles are congruent? No. So we are going to find another pair of corresponding parts that should be or that are obviously congruent. As we can see, this angle here and this angle here are actually vertical angles. When we say vertical angles, these are 2 opposite angles that are formed when 2 lines or 2 line segments intersect. So, nagkaroon ng intersection yung dalawang line segment na to. Therefore, this angle here and this angle here are vertical angles. And we know that vertical angles are congruent. So, therefore, we now have 3 pairs of corresponding parts that are marked congruent. And what are those parts? We have side, angle, side. On the second triangle, we have side, angle, side. And the angle here is an included angle. So therefore, we can conclude that the 2 triangles are congruent by SAS congruence postulate. So let us now give 3 statements that would prove that the 2 triangles are congruent based on SAS congruence postulate. Let's start with the first pair of sides. We have side BC corresponds to side LR, or side BC is congruent to side LR. And the next are the included angles. So we have this angle here and this angle here. This angle here is named angle BRA, and this angle here is named angle LRK. So angle BRA is congruent to angle LRK. And by the way, these 2 angles here are congruent based on vertical angle theorem, because these 2 angles here are vertical angles. And finally, we will have the third pair of corresponding parts, which is the second pair of sides. We have side AR corresponds to side KR, or side AR is congruent to side KR. So we have here 3 statements saying that 2 pairs of corresponding sides and a pair of included angles are congruent. Therefore, we can say that triangle BAR is congruent to triangle LKR by SAS congruence postulate. Okay, so I hope you understood this one. Let us now proceed to the third triangle congruence postulate. We have ASA congruence postulate. Ano nga ba itong ASA congruence postulate? Okay, you are correct. As we can observe, ASA here stands for angle, side, angle. Unlike SAS, ang nasa gitna doon ay A, pero in this case, ASA, ang nasa gitna ay S. So we have angle, side, angle. And for us to understand this better, let us read this one. ASA congruence postulate. If two angles and the included side of one triangle are congruent to the corresponding angles and the included side of another triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. So what do we need to have for us to be able to conclude that the two triangles are congruent? Kailangan merong two angles and included side. And before I give you examples about ASA congruence postulate, let us first understand what included side mean. Ano nga ba itong included side? Yes, katulad po ng included angle, pag sinabi naman nating included side, this is a side in between two angles. Ibig sabihin, yung side na nasa pagitan ng dalawang angles na merong tick marks or ng dalawang angles na kino-consider natin. Suppose we have these triangles here. As we can see, on the first triangle, angle G and angle I are marked. So the included side is the side in between angle G and angle I, and that is this side, side GI. On the second triangle, angle I and angle H are marked. So meaning, the side in between angle I and angle H is this side here. So the included side is side HI. On the third triangle, angle G and angle H are marked. So the side that has tick marks is this side here, or the included side is side GH, because this is the side in between two angles that are marked. Okay, so since we already know what included side is, so let us now give an example about ASA congruence postulate. Write the congruent parts and prove that the triangles are congruent. Suppose we have this triangle, triangle ABC, ABC, and triangle CDA, CDA. Now the question is, how many pairs of corresponding parts are marked congruent? Yes, you are correct. There are only two pairs of corresponding parts that have tick marks, meaning these angles here and this pair of angles here. So there are two pairs of corresponding angles that are marked congruent. So what do we need to do now? Is that enough information for us to prove that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle CDA? No. So we are going to find the third pair of corresponding parts. As we can see, side AC here, side AC is a shared side, meaning this side is part of triangle ABC, and this is also a part of triangle CDA. So this is a shared side, or this is a reflexive side, meaning side AC is congruent to side AC, or side AC is congruent to itself. So meaning this is the third pair of corresponding parts that is to be marked congruent. So in this case, we already have three pairs of corresponding parts that are marked congruent. And what are those? We have angle, side, angle. On the second triangle, we have angle, side, angle. So we have ASA, or angle, side, angle. What is the first pair of angle that are marked congruent? We have here angle BAC and angle DCA. So this angle here is angle BAC, and this angle here is angle DCA, and they are congruent. How about the included side? Side AC is congruent to itself, or side AC is congruent to side AC. By reflexive property of congruence, we know that side AC is congruent to itself. Next, we have the second pair of congruent angles. We have angle BCA. This angle here is angle BCA, and this angle here is angle DAC. So we have angle BAC is congruent to angle DAC. So we have here three statements saying that two pairs of corresponding angles and a pair of included sides are congruent. So therefore we can say that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle CDA. By what means we have proven that the two triangles are congruent? Yes, you are correct. By ASA Congruence Postulate, or by ASA postulate. Okay, so those are the three triangle congruence postulate. First one we have is SSS. The second we have is SAS. And lastly, we have ASA Congruence Postulate. So let's now answer activity A. Given triangle BIG, this one here is triangle BIG, we need to answer the following questions. And here are the questions. Okay, so these are the three questions. I'm giving you 3 minutes. All you need to do is to pause the video. Pwede nyo siyang i-pause at magsagot kayo. This is just a self-assessment. Tignan natin kung meron po kayong natutunan. So all you need to do is to answer these 3 questions in 3 minutes before I reveal you the answer. I-pause nyo siya ng 3 minutes at magbigay kayo ng sagot. Okay, so let us check. First question, what is the included angle between side BI and side IG? So we have here side BI and side IG. So the included angle is angle I. Ito po yun. Next, what is the included angle between side BG and side BI? First, we need to locate where side BG and side BI are. So we have side BG. This is side BG. And this one is side BI. So between these two sides, side BG and side BI, the included angle is angle B. This angle here. Next, what is the included angle between side BG and side GI? We have here side BG and side GI. So the included angle between these two sides is angle G. Okay, so we have angle I, angle B, and angle G. Okay, so next is a continuation of activity A. Again, we have triangle BIG, and all you need to do is to answer these 3 questions here. Again, I'll be giving you 3 minutes. All you need to do is to pause the video for 3 minutes and then answer these questions. Okay, so let us check. What is the included side between angle B and angle I? This one here is angle B, and this one here is angle I. So the included side is this side. What is this side? This is side BI. Next, what is the included side between angle I and angle G? Angle I is here and angle G is here. So the included side is this side. Side IG. Next, we have what is the included side between angle B and angle G? We have angle B and angle G. So the included side is this side, and this side here is side BG. Okay, so for activity A, all in all, we have 6 items, and since you have assessed yourself, you have answered this, and you have paused the video, you can comment down your scores. Next, we have activity B. Name the postulate and tell which of the triangles are congruent. So we have here 6 pairs of triangles. We have number 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6. Ibalik natin. We have 6 pairs of triangles. All you need to do is to name the postulate. What are the postulate? SSS, SAS, and ASA. And then after naming the postulate, you are going to tell whether each pair of triangles are congruent or not. Okay, again, you can pause the video for 5 minutes and you can answer this activity in 5 minutes. And when you already have your answers, you can play the video again to check whether your answers are correct. Okay, so let us check. Name the postulate and tell which of the triangles are congruent. So we have here number 1. All we need to do is to identify the parts that are marked congruent. We have here, this part here have tick mark, and also this part, and also this part. We have side, angle, side. On the second triangle, we have side, angle, side. So obviously, the postulate used is SAS. Now the question is, are the 2 triangles congruent? Yes, the 2 triangles are congruent based on SAS congruence postulate. How about in number 2? What are the pairs of corresponding parts are marked congruent? So ang merong tick mark sa number 2 are the 3 sides. So side, side, side. Doon sa pangalawang triangle, it also has side, side, side. So obviously, yung postulate is S, S, S. And again, the 2 triangles are congruent based on SSS congruence postulate. How about in number 3? We have angle, side, angle. Again, ang titingnan lang po natin ay yung merong tick marks. Yung merong mga ganitong tick marks. Ibig sabihin yan, those corresponding parts of the 2 triangles are congruent. So we have angle, side, angle. On the second triangle, we have angle, side, angle, or ASA. And obviously, the 2 triangles are congruent based on ASA congruence postulate. In number 4, what are the pairs of corresponding parts that are marked congruent? We have this side here and this side. So there are only 2 pairs. But obviously, these angles here are vertical angles, meaning they are congruent because they are vertical angles. Vertical angles are formed when 2 intersecting lines or line segments form opposite angles. Ang tawag natin dyan ay vertical angles, and they are congruent. So we have side, angle, side, or SAS. And obviously, the two triangles here are congruent based on SAS congruence postulate. Next, in number 5 and number 6. For number 5, just like in number 4, there are only two pairs of corresponding parts that are marked congruent. But, obviously, these angles here should also be marked congruent because they are vertical angles. They are opposite angles that is formed or that are formed by two intersecting line segments, and therefore we can call them vertical angles, and they are congruent. So we have side, angle, side. Side, angle, side, or SAS congruence postulate. And obviously, the two triangles are congruent based on SAS congruence postulate. How about in number 6? What are the pair of parts that are marked congruent? We have here angle, 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 angle. So A. But the question is there such an AAA triangle congruence postulate? There is none. So therefore, this is not enough information for us to be able to conclude that the two triangles are congruent. We cannot tell whether the two triangles are congruent or not because we don't have such AAA congruence postulate. Okay, so again, you can comment down your scores kung ilan ang nakuha natin sa activity B out of 6 items. Now, the question is, why AAA is not a rule to prove congruency? Let us observe these two triangles. As we can see, the two triangles have congruent angles. 60, 60, 60, and 60, 60, 60. But their sides are 4, 4, 4, while on the other it has 6, 6, and 6. Therefore, two triangles with the same angles need not be of the same size. Hindi nangangahulugan na kapag magkaparehas ang measurement ng tatlong angles ng dalawang triangle, ay parehas na rin ang measurement ng kanyang sides. Okay? So here are some of the applications of congruent triangles in real life. Actually, it has a lot of applications, but I'll show you two of the main applications of triangle congruence in actual or in real life. What can you see on the pictures? We have trusses. We have the roof trusses, yung ginagamit natin sa roof or sa bubong. And we also have trusses on bridges. Obviously, yung mga engineers at saka may yung mga construction workers, hindi na nila kailangan i-measure lahat ng corresponding parts of the two trusses here for them to be able to make sure that the two trusses are of equal shape, are of congruent shape, and congruent size. If they are going to make use of the triangle congruence postulate, mas mapapadali yung trabaho nila kung i-measure lang nila yung corresponding parts that are being discussed on triangle congruence postulates. Okay, so I guess that ends our lesson for today. So all you need to do now is to answer the following assessment. Identify the triangle congruence postulate illustrated in each of the following figures. Ano po ang gagawin? We have here 5 items or 5 pairs of triangles, all you need to do is to identify the triangle congruence postulate. Ano-ano yung mga triangle congruence postulate na napag-aralan natin? We have SSS, SAS, and ASA. Yun lamang pong tatlo ang pagpipilian na magiging sagot. We have number 1, number 2, and number 3. Next is number 4 and number 5. So all you need to do is to answer this assessment and comment down your answers, or you can even send it through PM or through our GC para malaman natin kung sino ang nakakuha ng 5 out of 5 at kung sino naman ang nakakuha ng mababang scores. And hopefully, lahat kayo ang makakuha ng mataas na scores. Okay, so that ends our session for today. Again, God bless everyone and good day.